What? Hey guys, what's going on? This is FlickinReviewzWeekly here with our review of NightCrawler starring the amazing Jake Gyllenhaal.
Amazing. Here we have NightCrawler, written and directed by Dan Gilroy, who's known for Real Steel and also The Bourne Legacy. We have our main character, Lou Bloom, who's played by Jake Gyllenhaal, and then we have his sort of boss, if you will, Nina, who's played by Renee Russo, and then we have another main character, Bill Paxton, and then Jake Gyllenhaal's partner, Riz Ahmed. So, in this movie, we start out, we have a man desperate for work, and he discovers that he has a talent for filming LA crimes as they happen. What he does is he films the scenes, and then he sells them to this news station, and then he basically just rinses and repeats. After doing this for a while, he starts to sort of push the boundaries of just observing and filming to causing the crimes. And basically, this movie, I would say, is the definition of a psychological thriller. It's suspenseful, it's kind of daring in some scenes, and really, it's just freaky. That's what I would think.
I would most definitely agree.
Yeah.
One of the things that I like the most actually about this movie is its incredible suspensefulness. In certain scenes, it just sort of left you like unspeakable, like what just happened. That sort of reflects on what we did at the beginning of the video. Gyllenhaal's character is like completely unpredictable. Like you have no idea what he's going to do, and that's what makes some of the scenes unbelievable. Because once those scenes are just cut, you're like, you're sort of left speechless, and that's something that is really really good that these people did making this movie. One of the things that I thought was really really dark about this movie is just how he sort of came from being this poor low income guy who stole from people just to make a living to seducing people and to sort of rising to the top of this obsession of his and his way of making money and his way of blackmailing people and just his incredibly psychotic, mentally unstable personality. And that's one thing that I thought was incredible that Jake Gyllenhaal did portray unbelievably.
Yeah. The biggest thing of this movie, really the whole focus of this movie, is that from start to finish, you sort of know that this guy's kind of off. He's kind of awkward, and he's sort of unsettling. But really, as awkward and sort of unsettling as he is from the start, the movie focuses on his even further down spiral to sort of psychopathic, from awkward to socially weird down to sort of a spiral, like I said earlier, down to sort of being kind of a psychopath who is sort of being obsessed with power.
He is very, very psychopathic, and he is obsessed with power, and he does want to rise to the top. And one of the things that he does that I think was sort of awkward in this movie is that he would do all this crazy stuff behind the scenes and stuff, and then he would like go to his workplace and be like, "Hey man, how you doing? You look good today." Blah 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 blah, and he'd almost seem like this really sort of nice guy. But his awkward personality is something that I've never really seen happen on screen, and that's why I was sort of left like, what, after I saw this movie. Now let's talk about some of the cons. Some of the cons, I think, it was slow paced in a few of the sections. It's sort of, for some people, I would imagine how it would get a while into getting used to, into getting into it. And
that's me.
Sam had that. Me and Sam had this problem. The music, I was not a fan of the music that was put together for this movie.
For the kind of movie that it is, the suspenseful thriller that it is, there are some parts in it where you feel like you're watching a Disney where, it has like that flute and stuff. They just kind of contrast with each scene. But then in other parts of it, there was that fitting suspenseful music. It was just kind of all over the place, and I didn't really dig that.
It was. Some of the scenes I feel like just went on like forever, and that was one of the things that I thought was actually awesome though. Like a series of events led from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, and then he figured this out, and then he went after that, and that was actually one thing that I really, really liked that I just thought of actually. So, and then the last thing that I didn't really like was sort of the editing, some of the cuts that they used, some of the camera angles that they used, and what scenes the music went over, and I just mentioned that.
Yeah, I think that some of my cons were pretty much the same as yours. Like you said, it took me a while to get into this, and even then, it lost me at a few points. I wouldn't say that I was bored by this movie, but I was never like freaking out like, oh my god, this is the best scene of all time. Like it never really hooked me just like for a while. Like it was a good scene, and then it went back to just this boring scene, and I didn't really dig that.
I was much more
cons.
fond of this movie than Sam was.
Yeah.
I did think it was a modern masterpiece. I very much loved it. That's why I'm gonna flick and give it a 9 out of 10. I thought this movie had so many great aspects for its genre. It really led you into believing this character and sort of wondering what was going to happen next. And then when you thought that was going to happen, it didn't happen. And something that you never would have thought would happen happened. So that's a reason why I'm giving this a 9 out of 10. Sam, what did you think?
I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. I don't think it's as good as the critics are saying. I don't think it's as good as you think. Of course, that's your opinion. I respect that. But I just didn't get real into this movie. I thought it had, like I said earlier, a few good scenes, some intense parts, but it just never got me. I just sort of never thought about it.
So you're saying that you won't really remember this movie in a couple months to come?
Probably not. I mean, it's one of those movies where I feel like I wanted it to be. I wanted to enjoy it more than I did, but I just didn't.
So you did go in with high expectations?
Yes, I did. I was excited to see the movie, and then I was just kind of left disappointed. Okay. All right, guys, that was our review of NightCrawler. He liked it. I didn't dig it too much. What did you think? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe and share this with your friends. And we are Flickin' Reviews Weekly. I am Sam.
I am Ashton.
And we will see you next time.